You're listening to Zero Hour, a Scarlet Rhapsody podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Zero Hour. It is our first trip to Strategicon / Orc a board gaming event that I went to years ago, like, what's to say, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And I'm glad to come back, and this time covering it as part of Scarlet Rhapsody, not helping out with a booth. Not that helping out with a booth is bad, just it's fun covering it as press. And with me today is Stan and Deb.
Hi. It's not our first rodeo, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we helped with that kind of event for like how many times? Like 2 or 3?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact that all three of us have helped out in different capacities over the years with this event and never really covered it until now.
Yeah.
And it's one of those strange things. This was like an event recommended to me last year, and I said, fine, I'll put it on the queue, and we got in, and we all ended up having a pretty good time, I think.
For what it's worth, yeah, for how short we stayed.
So this is held at the LAX Hilton. Those of you who are on our anime fan side of things would remember this as the place where PMX was for a very long time. It's a really nice hotel, a very large hotel, and it still gets crowded because somehow that happens. They used the second floor, the lobby level, and the lower floor, I guess basement floor, whatever it's properly called. And every location had something to do. And the lobby, like with any convention held at that hotel, it was filled with about 400 people all just hanging out, talking about whatever. And probably a great place to meet and interact with people. It just feels awkward, obviously walking into people's conversations going, I played that game too. Yeah. But overall, it was kind of strange going back there. It was like almost getting all these flashbacks from PMX. Like if it was a movie, you'd just see my character walking and then it would just whoosh, and then show something and walking and whoosh, show another event. And it kind of felt like that the entire time in my brain, that my brain was just having, hey, remember when this happened? Remember when that happened? Hey, remember we did that photo shoot on the stairs? Hey, remember the karaoke room was here, and this is where the panel rooms, and this was the video game area. And it's kind of crazy when
honestly,
those moments.
Honestly, when you pointed all those out, I was like, I do not remember everything.
You had a vision? Damn, I told you we should have tranquilized them.
Yeah, see, this is why I'm the main character, and you guys are just like the side characters.
Hey, sometimes side characters are the best characters, okay?
This is true.
True.
But as protagonist, everyone got to see my flashbacks, so it was great.
Yeah. Like 2 episodes later, look at me. I'm the main character now.
So, we will, speaking of main characters, we will get into our adventures of the Adventure League a little later, because that has some good stories out of it. But we will begin kind of going top to bottom. So the second floor is where registration is located, and it was really quick. It's just get there, tell them your name, here's your badge.
I think it's also the fact that people who stay there already got their badge on like Thursday or something.
Yeah. This was set up as a 4-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh, yes, Friday, Saturday,
so, yeah, anyone who showed up on Friday to do the full weekend, and by the way, this is a 24-hour event. There are games of Ultimate Werewolf being played at 3 a.m. Because why not? There was old school AD&D, what I grew up with, being played at midnight, and I'm like, man, my brain would be so mush, but I would love to do an old school AD&D at midnight. That just sounds awesome.
Try playing Werewolf while drunk.
Oh, God.
I'm sure that's what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what happens.
I'm sure AD&D's played that way too. It's
Yeah.
like, oh man, every time your character dies, you're gonna have to you finish your cup. It's like, I made 5 character sheets. I think I can get through this game.
3 characters later.
I'm on my bard, right? Okay, so my bard's name is Bardley the Bard, and he really likes. Can I have a refill? What are we in? Tomb of Annihilation? Yeah, cool, whatever. Throw my dice. What? Don't have to roll right now. Oh,
why are you throwing D4? We told you to throw D8.
Oh. It's like, well, it's like, roll your D8. Yeah, you still don't disarm the trap. You're dead. I'm like, oh.
Finish it.
Yeah, the old AD&D can be very much a meat grinder. The extended dungeons, you're literally told, build like 5 characters, go in and hope that at least one of them comes out alive. That's how insane those games can be. God, I'd love to play a game of was it Murder? Dungeon Land, which is based off of Wonderland and is great.
Oh.
It's a massive meat grinder, and every single thing in Wonderland is trying to murder you. I mean, Dungeon Land is trying to murder you.
Dungeon.
But it can be a fun experience.
Yeah. So
But what we had over after registration, which was very quick, excuse me, that upper floor was used for a lot of game things. So it had an indie game room where they had a couple people showing off their indie games to people. It had the video game room, which I know you went to, Stan.
they actually had a couple of interesting new stuff that I haven't seen before, which is one of them is like an old school game rack cabinet.
That was new.
Yeah, probably custom built. The other one is just a giant joystick, two-player joystick that contained all the old school games. You just have to plug and play.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. Everything else is pretty similar to before. And
No one knows about this. Is our first report. You
Right,
got to
right.
say what before was like.
so one of the games had. God, I don't even know what game it is. It looks like a Cubert, but not really. But then you just have to roll the balls to control this bear, and then
I don't recall what it's called.
I know, right? Like
If it was Centipede, then I knew.
oh yeah,
it was
no, everyone knows Centipede. Okay. Other than that, they had usual Switch, PS4, Xbox setup, and the PC setup on the left side. Where all the PC gaming is, and
Yeah.
then most people wind up just playing either Minecraft or Overwatch.
Or Smash.
Oh, well, you don't play Smash on PC, honey?
Oh,
Well-
or if you're talking about the Switch.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no,
A
I'm
lot-
talking about PC right now.
PC wise, yeah, I've seen some Overwatch, so
Yeah.
nothing really has changed.
Like Smash is all on Switch, and then that's all they got. And then they don't have a lot of big catalog. But then again, when you just use it as a like daycare center for kids,
Yeah.
then you don't need a lot of catalog.
There were quite a few kids running around, especially in that second floor area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it just feels like parents just dumped their kids off in the video game room so they could go and play, a war game, or they could go play it's one of the RPG rooms or the LARPing section. Or although if you're gonna LARP, take your kids along, make them some sort of squire. Come on.
Actually, there was a nice little kiddie corner so they could play board games and whatnot with parents.
And
Yeah, they still have that.
And like I said, I really do appreciate conventions where the parents bring their kids. I just wish some parents would be better at watching their kids. And I even remember seeing a thing in the guide for they had a little simulator room, and no kids were allowed in under the age of like 12 without parents. And I'm like, yeah, it seems like a good idea. Just because little kids can get a little rowdy sometimes, especially if they get bored. And let's face it, not every kid is going to be down with board games in the age of, video games on every single console, including your phone. I can see kids getting a little bit bored. But I do appreciate seeing the kids. That upper floor, though, man, there's kids everywhere. I was kind of like, oh boy, it's a lot of kids. Not a lot of supervision. Not a lot of shenanigans. I mean, if there were shenanigans, I didn't hear or see of any. But just kids running around gets to be kind of one of those, like, you're playing Frogger, but there's children instead of cars. Like, I just want to get to the other side of this room. But overall, there's plenty of things to do there. I tried to find the wargaming section, and I could not find it. I think I got turned around on like where it was on the map versus where it was
Are you
walking.
talking about just general board game?
Yeah, the wargame style board games that they had there.
Okay.
Not the miniature style.
Okay, so it was next to this little table on the corner of the hall. That's where you get the
Okay.
board games.
Yeah. Okay, so I got mixed up on stuff.
Yeah, no, it's not actual room. It's a table.
Okay. Yeah. But overall, I know there's supposed to be rooms that they do have set up for various other games and what have you that are not D&D related. It would have been cool to explore some of those and just see what people were playing, but just that alone, it shows you that there's a lot to do up there, especially if you're going in with friends, because you can just go and take a room, or if you met new people who are like, hey, we need one more or two more to play such and such. Or if you just buy a new game in the dealer hall, which brings us to the lobby floor, which of course had the dealer hall, which for anyone, again, if you went to PMX, that's usually where their dealer hall was. And it had a pretty good loadout of stuff, including some people hawking their indie games. I went through mostly looking at different game options. They had about 7 different versions of Settlers of Catan, which is still on my list of maybe grabbing. I played it once and I really enjoyed it, though I had no memory of what any of the rules are. I basically had someone explaining them to me as I played, but I enjoyed what it was. And they had one of the games that caught my eye was the Jaws game, which I've since looked up the rules for, and I kind of want to get it because it's a kind of a fun versus game. Yes, someone gets to play as the shark.
Not for real?
Yeah, for real.
For real. It begins as kind of a stealth game where the person playing the shark's trying to eat the swimmers while avoiding Brody, Quint, and Hooper. And then the second part of the game is versus, where the shark tries to take out the boat, and the Brody, Quint, and Hooper try to take out the shark, and whoever survives is the winner. So it's a pretty cool game. And I do kind of lament not grabbing it.
Okay, so I'm going to roll my D24, my shark, to perform Shinku Hadoken on Brody.
Not exactly, but close enough. You get that killing blow. You get that killing blow. At least you get to know that you just chomped away at a famous actor.
Giku scrub.
I also saw, they had a beginner's box for BattleTech, which, man, I will tell you that I was very tempted. I was literally looking at the box, and they had two different versions. I was looking at both of them, and a guy standing next to me was like, are you going to buy that? I'm like, I'm thinking about it. Why? He's like, because I was thinking about buying that. And I'm like, well, I'm still haven't finished my tour of the dealer hall, so if you want to grab it, just grab it. I'm not gonna say no, it's mine. Get away. Because I really do want to start up a BattleTech, but BattleTech it's so complicated and requires so much room to play that yeah. But I really did like looking around at things. Most people were pretty cool. They had a whole row of module books that were completely unorganized, which drove me up the wall because all I wanted to do was find maybe a new Cthulhu book, and instead of that, I just got frustrated. And I probably could have asked the guy, "Do you have any? And if so, are they in a specific box?"
That's what I said. I was like, "Why did you ask?"
I know. I should have. He was busy with other people all the time, which I'm probably asking the same question I'm asking.
So is everyone else.
Yeah. Just rule here: if you're gonna have a bunch of books set up in like long box type things, here's an idea. Put a little thing in front of it that just says the title of the stuff you'll find in there. So I don't have to go through saying like, oh, I think this one is made up of White Wolf stuff, and this one is AD&D, or not AD&D, no one does it anymore. 5th edition, this is like old out-of-print books, this is weird random games. Just let me know which box is the box I need to look for so I can just flip through the 4 or 5 books that would be pertinent to me. It would be nice.
And then you're going to have a sign that says, this is a box you're looking for. No, I don't care. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just buy it and get the hell out.
Yeah. Why are these guys so mean? What were you guys' experiences like in the dealer hall?
It's about the same size as every other year.
Yeah, it was every other year.
So
from what I recall.
Yeah. So go on.
No, I remember there were the new one. Cantrip Candles was there. They released a new scent candle. It's very floral, which isn't my style. But there was one other candle I've been eyeing on for a while, but I'm not in a rush to get it.
Yeah, you introduced me to them at, I want to say...
It was...
LA Comic-Con?
Yeah, I think it was LA Comic-Con.
I think it was LA Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And they're a pretty cool place. All their candles are themed to kind of locations you would have in a tabletop adventure, which is pretty awesome for adding that smell in there. You want the place to smell like the tavern that you're all meeting up at. You want the place to smell like a dungeon or a cave or a forest. I really liked the forest one. Which I have just like a weakness for forest smelling candles. I have a forest themed candle in my room that's almost done, and I'm gonna have to replace it soon. Mm-hmm. But I never thought about adding like the smell effect to the gameplay, but that is kind of a cool thing, especially if you're trying to set the right tone or mood. It's a dark tavern or it's a dark castle or whatever, and you have like the lights dimmed and then like one nice candle giving you that rusty, dusty kind of smell without being gross, just like giving the brain that kind of headspace. And I really like that. I think it's kind of cool. There's candles dedicated to that. What else did you find, Deb?
There was this very nice lady who had a little jewelry booth, but the darndest thing is she actually brought like 2 huge boxes of See's Candies chocolates. It was like, yeah, it was on sale because Valentine's Day discount candy, and then so I just grabbed a few. That was nice. And, of course, there's dice everywhere, and it was very tempting.
They also had like a painting table for painting miniatures, I think you were looking at for a bit.
It's like a paid painting class, but I wish I could go and paint, but I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But the miniatures he displayed are pretty cool, though.
That's one of the most fun parts of miniature gaming is just having the figurines and painting them and what have you. Especially because you can just customize all your people to look like what you want them to look like, which is always fun. What about you, Stan? What did you have? What was your dealer hall experience?
So the funny thing is, I actually came across this one board game, Play 5, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And it really interested me in the way that they actually managed, Roger was the creator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Roger managed to fuse Scrabble with poker. And I played them, and it was pretty fun for what it's worth. I mean, I already know how to play poker, so that's a little easy. And then just have to kind of adjust my mentality a little bit. Okay, so it's not all 5 cards, okay? 3 minimum, and you're good, And then you can just like mix and match like however you want based on not just what you're going for, like like 3 of the kind or whatever have you, but also important that what tile has what property, like is it double on all hands or double in just one hand and all that stuff, like Scrabble and what have you.
It's a little bit of strategy more than just filling out everything.
Yeah, so this is where the damnedest thing gets, because the last hand before because I got knocked out completely. Oh yeah, by the way, you use chips instead of points, So pretty much like you can come back. Unlike like Scrabble, like you're behind. In this game, you can actually come back, if you pull out something ridiculously stupid, And I thought I was there, like last match before I had to like head out, like I did something, I got 160 points, right? Roger used my hand as a leverage to extend to the other points, so he got like 360 points. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
The problem is when you play the creator of the game, they sometimes know the tricks. They should know the tricks. They created the game.
No, here's the thing though. He had Joker. If he didn't have the Joker, he would not be able to extend off of me. So it's just like, oh, come the hell on. Like
perfect draw for him. And
oh, it's ridiculous. Like, personally, I feel like Joker shouldn't count as any points after you're used, but whatever, he's the creator. Who the hell am I to argue,
Yeah.
Like, because Jokers are too OP in that board game. Like,
there's probably not that many, though. So
probably 5,
that's how they balance it out.
He said something about 5, total, so it's like...
I assume you can also play with multiple players, and therefore you can kind of have...
Yeah.
It's a little more evened out if you had 4 players playing 5 Jokers. Then,
it's up to 4.
Yeah. Then you're going to be put in a position where they're significantly more rare, and you're not just destroying each other left and right.
So it's just, so that's probably it. But at the same time, it's kind of like, of all the freaking hands you could get. So, now that was fun, and I kind of want to buy it now,
Yeah.
What was it called?
Play 5.
Play 5?
Yep.
Okay.
Turns out I had to look it up. Turns out it's been around since like 2012-ish. So, Roger's been grinding.
There are some pretty interesting games they had there. One of which I found was called Upstaged, which was kind of this card game based on kind of doing a sort of an American Idol sort of thing where you have your performer person, you try to outperform other people, and then build the best hand for points, which are kind of like how all the judges view your character. It seemed kind of interesting. It had this cool board though where it was a cross shape that you could turn, and then it folds up to actually create like a kind of like a stage there for where you put up your points once you've scored your stuff.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's a pretty clever idea. I like seeing unique boards like that. But overall, yeah, I mean, if you want to check out new stuff, it's a great place to check out new stuff because there's always indie people putting on their things there. And even outside, they had a few tables that were dedicated to a couple games. One of them was a card battle game, which was a bit intimidating. I was even talking to the guy. I'm like, wow, I feel like... He's just like, no, everything comes in the sets, and the sets all have the different forces and all the forces. Like, it just feels like it'd just be a lot of really having to find out what card set really works well for you and going into battle. But It was pretty cool, and I was talking with the guy, and he was just like, "Yeah, I've been working on this game since like 1998."
What?
He had the initial idea in '98, and then it's just taken him all this time to just develop and redevelop. And I think they said they began with like 3 factions, and now they have 5 factions. So the game's probably been around for a while, and I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, which I feel bad about. But there were so many cool things to kind of check out like that, which does make the ticket kind of worth it. And right across from the dealer hall is the miniatures zone, which was huge and awesome.
So they had, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4 general sections. Okay, right. So the small table ones are just for like a small small board games and whatever, or just the general D&D and stuff. If they do so wish to, anyone can sit there and just like bring out the board and just like, let's have fun, The bigger boards are more specific stuff, They would have a sign that would indicate which game belongs here and what have you, Some of them are like, historical war game. The other ones are like, Battletech. And then there's Cthulhu war game, which I'm just like, all right, okay, so I suppose that's a thing.
Yeah, there's 2 versions. Both sound awesome. One is the great old ones have risen up, and now you're playing basically military versus unstoppable monsters. The other one is pre-humanity, and all the great old ones and their minions are battling each other for control of reality, which sounds way more awesome in my book. I would love to just lead forth an army of Starspawn and go like, all right, what are you going to do? And it's like, oh, well, I got Shaggoths. Oh, okay, let's see who can win between a Starspawn and a Shaggoth. It'd be so great.
Like, just imagine playing the post-apocalyptic one too, All right, guys, okay, here's a plan. Let's all go to Madagascar.
Just run away. Just if we could run away, maybe they won't find us.
No one touches Madagascar in pandemic, so this should work.
The weirdest game of Risk. I have this one little zone here. Hopefully they'll just leave me alone. So, some people had some cool stuff set up. For Game of Thrones, they had a Lannister and a Stark banner, which is kind of cool, while they had their whole table set up. Of course, then there's the awesomeness of the whole displays of literal armies of Warhammer soldiers and vehicles.
Every year, they bring those miniatures in, and it still looks goddamn impressive.
Yeah.
Yep. Games Workshop sure knows how to make awesome-looking miniature figure guys.
And those guys actually play on that thing, too. I've seen them roll like, how many dices are there? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dices.
Oh, yeah. Wargames can get like crazy numbers of dice to represent either numbers of troops or weapons plus a bunch of different variables. Looking at stuff, it seems very intimidating. A lot of these games are relatively easy to learn, though they are very expensive to play. So you always got to remember that. As I've known multiple people who said, like, I'd love to get into Warhammer, I just can't afford it. And yeah, because you want your specific troops, you want your guys, and you got to go and buy those specific packs to have your set of Space Marines or your set of orcs or whatever your group is. And
Taos.
Yeah, the Taos. You have your options, and man, it can look really, really impressive and cool. And the sheer amount of battles and options you have makes things significantly more exciting. And I fully understand why 40K is more popular than Warhammer Fantasy. But
guns.
Yeah, guns, space vehicles, tanks, power armor. That stuff's pretty sweet. Gotta say. But it was so cool just looking at everything. You had even older school things where it looked like it was probably either Civil War or something along those lines, or Revolutionary War. Because I saw stuff that had like clearly older designed soldiers like that. It's really, even if you don't play any of these things, just looking at the setups, watching people play for a bit, or especially if you see the designs of the personal custom paint jobs, there's some awesome looking stuff in there that it just makes it a cool experience. I think we could have spent another 20 or 30 minutes in there just looking at different boards. What do you think of the miniatures, Deb?
Oh gosh. Yeah, nothing has changed every year, but I also noticed that there was a little painting section, but I think it's the same miniature every year.
It looks close, but I don't think it's the same one.
Was it the same?
I don't think it's the same one. You know, the one that we used last time had like a kind of like a water like spout coming out.
Yeah.
This one didn't have that.
Oh, it was different?
Yeah.
Dang, I should have joined in.
It's different, but I think it's still that same old like, you know, here's a sample figure, you know, sort of
it's
deal.
the same thing.
Yeah,
But-
your figure might just get randomized for all
Yeah.
we know.
It could be.
None of us signed up for that.
I still have. Well, it's free, so it's like open table. Anybody can drop in, and they'll give you some paint sets, and just go nuts. There's no time limit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty chill place. So.
Yeah, after I told my brother about that, he was like, "Oh man, I probably would have ditched you guys to go and paint a figure." Or two."
Oh, he would. He would.
I would have joined in anyway.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, there'd be no problem with that, Ethan. I wouldn't be all like, "Oh, how dare you ditch us to do that thing you came here to do."
We can still say that, you know.
Yeah, we will still stay. We'll still razz him afterwards, but but at the time, like, no, it's kind of the thing of this is that this is an easy event where everyone can kind of divide off and do their own thing, and you can still meet up and do other stuff. Do you guys want to talk about anything else in the wargaming room, or do you want to head downstairs?
Nah, I think that's about it.
About it.
Other than the cafeteria and the sign up for the tournament.
Oh, that's true. They have the tournament sign up over there, which, again, if you are actually staying through this for the multiple days, that could be a lot of fun doing the various tournaments and what have you. Definitely a con where, I mean, it is a little too close to like say like, oh yeah, we should just grab a hotel, but it would be pretty freaking cool. Probably not for 4 days. I don't know if I could handle that, but
You never know till you try.
it's true.
Never know.
Because if that's the case, you could literally begin at the Adventures League with a level 1 character and end the weekend with like a level 10 character. You've just been powering up this guy the entire time.
You're gonna tell me with a straight face that you don't want to play D&D, semi-drunk, 3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh hell yeah, I want to do that. I just need to make sure I'm playing the right character because like I couldn't take my cleric Parth into that because it just
Oh,
that would
gosh.
not be it wouldn't be copacetic. But if I created like some sort of barbarian guy and I'm half drunk, oh yeah, let's do this. I don't need a shirt. I don't need pants. I just need a sword. Roll. You miss. Ah!
That would be awkward if you like rage and go to reckless mode.
Yeah.
And then you completely miss. That was like all that build up.
Nothing.
For nothing.
The only build up here is alcoholic level.
But yes, shenanigans like that, or even playing like some of the, like I said, again, Ultimate Werewolf, for those who don't know, is similar to Mafia. So, it's all about, pointing fingers and taking people out and trying to figure out who the werewolf is. And that's how I understand it from what I've been told. That plus booze would be a very interesting combination because you're going to make some dumb choices.
Yeah. So.
Or someone's going to point someone like, nah, that's idiot. I have the card. Wait, no, I don't have the card. Or maybe I'm messing with you. You don't know. But yeah. Select Stan. Totally select Stan, not me. Stan's super. You can tell. You can see that. I changed my selection to Jared. Oh!
Everybody bored you out.
But yes,
Wow, we should play with Jared all the time when he's drunk. It's so easy.
I would be the worst Ultimate Werewolf player. So, the lower area had a few free play zone where people were playing just about everything, and kind of cool if you bring your own stuff. And I think they even had stuff you could rent or borrow to
To
play
a
as
certain
well.
extent, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what the widest variety is. It also is kind of cool if you just bought something from the dealer hall and you immediately want to play it. Again, more reason if you're just staying at the hotel, then why not play in like the big room with everyone else rather than heading up to your hotel room where you're not going to have a decent table.
Yeah.
And then across from that was the area where the Adventurers League played, and they had 3 games going a day, or sorry, 3 play sessions a day, all with about 4 or 5 different games going.
I think they pushed to 6 for tier 1.
Yeah, they really expanded their tier 1 area. So if you're just starting out, or you have a level 2, or level 3 player, up to level 5, I think, you can join in on tier 1 game and have a fun adventure. And all 3 of us joined in. Stan could not find his rogue from our previous play session, so he grabbed a tiefling bard, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest combination. And it became pretty effective in most of your roles and stuff too. Actually,
Yeah.
turned out pretty well. I don't know if it's entirely your play style, but you look like you're having fun.
I was expecting kind of, you know what, let me just sing like annoying song and buff everyone, but instead I turned out to be like Charles Xavier counterpart, you know? It's like, I'm just like, wait, what? I keep using same like, you know, long distance psychic
Yeah.
move over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's just like,
Yeah. Bard has really cool stuff, man.
There's some awesome stuff, and plus when you choose your school, you're gonna
Oh
have
man.
tons of options.
Depends on-
Choosing the school. Ooh.
like depending on how you build them too, you know? So it's like, I mean, but yeah, I could see myself like literally building like, you know, like Professor Xavier kind of bard, you know?
Psych people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a school like that. So.
And Deb brought back her half-elf monk.
Yeah, it was not a half elf. I apologize. It was a wood elf.
What elf?
Yeah. Yeah, according to the sheet, but yeah.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Look-
Yeah, I brought Lolithor, so it's still fun, but even though I had 0 luck, I don't know, maybe it was
It's one of those things where
Yeah.
once you get to about level, I think it's 4 or 5, you choose your discipline, which there's some awesome disciplines, including Way of the Open Fist, which basically allows you to become Kenshiro. At level 17,
tempted.
Way of the Open Fist gains a skill where if you hit it, you I can't remember what the term for it is, but basically you'll do the hit, and they have to roll a Constitution save or they instantly die. And if they save on the Constitution,
Wow.
they will take up to 10d10 damage,
Oh my gosh.
which means an unlucky giant could still die anyways. It was
My little Kenshiro. Gosh.
so, but then there's the Kensei that gets to use a bunch of different weapon specialties and stuff like that. I believe there's a nature one that gains like weird ki healing or chi or whatever they end up. I think they call it ki in that game.
Yeah, they call it key.
You
I
get
believe.
various key heals or other like buffs and stuff like that. And I think it's at level 4 or 5, monk fists become essentially magical weapons. So things that can only be harmed by magical or specialized weapons like flesh golems and ghosts, you can punch. You can
wow.
punch a ghost. Making that so awesome in my book. Oh, I will eat your... Oh, God! How did you do that? Spiritual acuity, but buddy. Pap, 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 pap. Oh, stop punching me. I'm already dead. Stop it. It really hurts. And I brought my human cleric, Parth,
Yeah.
who is great because our two characters have an adventure, and his whole point is he wants to travel the world and meet new friends
Oh gosh.
and become more experienced and less naive. I got to be all like happy whenever like anything happened with Holly.
And I just realized, oh yeah, Parth and Lolithor kind of know each other now. I'm like, oh.
We could make a very funny like comedic team because it's just super like, yeah, I'm here. I'm a monk. I will take out all my enemies. Yeah, and I'll cheer you on. Let's go on adventures.
I don't need cheering. Parth. Ugh.
I can heal and buff you as well.
Yes,
if you need.
yes, that's fine.
There's just this wacky pair. It's like, how did you guys become friends? Well, you see, the Order of the Gauntlet needed us to do a job. And through circumstances, we've started becoming traveling companions. We were teamed up with someone who was playing a rogue,
Yep.
who was pretty great. Our druid was awesome. Who we had just kept transforming into strange animals. Wonderful. Our other bard was freaking great and did something I never thought of doing, which is through background has like servants. And that got me thinking, what I want to do next is I want to create a knight and have my own minstrel follow me around and sing my praises. And then play my knight as follows. I am not a man who will brag about his exploits in battle or the great things I've done. I have Jacob, my minstrel, to do that for me. He's so great and he's killed monsters and he's saved the day so many times. Kings and queens and all of him. He's the greatest man who has ever lived. Thank you, Jacob. It was just like...
Lime!
So like that would just be the funniest thing. I shall do the first watch while Jacob sings my praises and how I'm the best at doing night watch.
Wouldn't that be counterintuitive as a watch?
He sees things at night and no one is Everyone is safe and no one will ever get hurt.
Oh, they heard us.
Roll for me. Yeah, you fail your perception check, and now you guys are swarmed by orcs. Oh, crap. I was too busy paying attention to the song. So,
This is what happens when you bring a freaking minstrel to the battle.
it would just be so like weird and silly, and I'm like, it would make me happy.
This is some Zach Brannigan stuff here from Futurama. It's like,
I'll just do him, Kif. Kif, sing my praises. He's so brave. He's the best knight who's ever lived.
wouldn't it be hilarious if it's a disgruntled like minstrel too? Ah, yes, my lord.
But still sings the praises.
Yeah.
He just really doesn't
We're
want
just
to.
getting paid.
He's the greatest. He's the brave. He can save this whole white world. Eh.
I'm gonna get a drink. Just walks on. He's the minstrel from Sleeping Beauty. He's just stealing the wine. But we had a very fun game. The general premise was we were guarding a convoy going through the desert,
Yeah.
which is like the worst place to ever go ever.
Ooh.
And we got jumped by goblins, which was made for an exciting little battle there.
Yeah.
And everyone was really working in sync with each other. I needed to update. Deb and I both needed to update our characters to level 2.
Oh, we do.
So she was missing out on a few extra attacks she should have had, and I could have added a couple extra cantrips that would have been
Yeah.
very helpful.
I think when somebody points out, I was like, what level are you in? I'm like, oh, it should be level 2. Oh, shoot, I didn't update, so we're going to have to fix that.
And my player's guide, I meant to bring it, but I didn't bring any game-related stuff. And now that I'm level 3, I get level 2 cleric spells. So I'll have to choose something nice there to be my primary. But it's actually kind of fun doing that. I really do recommend the Adventures League, especially if you don't have a group of friends to play with, or even if you do, because they have a lot of pre-generated characters. So you can just try out. You're like, I've never been a barbarian before. I've never been a monk before. And just try something out. And if you hate it, who cares? You just spent 2 hours playing a game.
My Bard Tiefling was a pre-gen.
Yeah.
So,
As was her monk and my my cleric.
Right.
And for now on, I like Parth is just going to be on Forgotten Realms Adventures, and I grabbed another Deb grabbed another cleric for me, which was a tortoise person, which I told my brother that, and he's like, oh, dude, I don't care what world you put him in, but I will join you for that world. I just wanted to see you play a turtle cleric.
Man. I did picked up another sheet. It was an actual half-elf paladin, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have fun with that.
That's going to be nice, all righteous and stuff.
Yeah.
Paladins get to be a lot of fun, plus the routes they can take are pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could do more of a protector type, and then you got I think it's called the Crusader or something like that, where you literally choose, if it is evil, I will kill it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet.
I've been playing a lot of Grand Blue Fantasy, so it's giving me a lot of ideas for the character, so.
And like I said, that's part of the fun of this. I really do recommend it. It's not at every con, but the cons that do have Adventures League stuff, just go and do it. Especially if you haven't played D&D in a while. Most of the missions, everyone there at our table was very friendly and helping out. Our other Bard player had the player's guide with them, which was something I should have done. And I was kicking myself. I was like, I'm going to bring my player's guide just to be safe. Leaves it at home. And I was like, yeah, okay, or I don't. That's also good. It's also an option. But since Parth really didn't need to use anything beyond I already have my level 1 spells, and most of the times I was just using Healing Word, because Healing Word. And I was using my Spiritual Flame cantrip.
Oh gosh, was it Sacred Flame? Flame.
But now I'm level 2, I can now have Divine Weapon, which is my favorite spell from AD&D, playing a cleric. I loved being able to it was called Spirit Hammer back in the day, and essentially you create a hammer that weighs nothing. It can be thrown and will always return to you. So basically, it's Mjolnir, which is probably what I
thought of that immediately.
Yeah, and it doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it can't be destroyed. It is there, I believe, for 24 hours. I think I got to double check on how long it lasts, but it lasts for a while. They've upgraded it in later editions where it can be any weapon you want, which is pretty cool, but usually supposed to be representative of whatever god, and I need to look over the Forgotten Realms gods to figure out who Parth he's primary to, and then I will figure out the weapon associated with. But even if I just go back to old school hammer, which was my preference, my strength no longer matters. It's now a wisdom bonus. So my wisdom of like +2, I think, would suddenly make it a like 1d8 +2 attack ranged. I'm not sure if it can be dodged or just has like a bonus to hit. I can't remember. But that would have made the fight a lot more easier rather than my, mace, which is great, except for I have -1 to strength. So my physical attacking is pointless. But if I can suddenly just foom, thunk, thank you. I think they've even changed it from throw. I believe it is just you command the weapon to attack something.
Oh.
So it is still technically a throw, but it makes more sense if you're using like a sword or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Sounds more like Yandu's arrow.
Yeah, it's kind of like Yandu's arrow. That's actually a good way of describing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, looking forward to that for later games because it's going to make Parth have a lot more use in battle rather than cowering and going like, I can heal.
I'll heal you. You have to come close to me. Dang it.
That's what healing word is for. At least I can do it within, I think it's 4 or 5 blocks. So but it's not as effective as
I need to learn how to
cure light wounds.
I need to learn how to measure blocks now. I'm like, oh yeah.
5 feet.
Yeah.
They're all supposed to be about 5 feet unless directed otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of fun.
It was pretty straightforward too, and then we get to the hobgoblin part where it gets dicey, and I'm just like, oh come on, really? You know?
Well, that was a boss fight, so there was no way you were gonna talk our way out of that.
Way.
But
I tried.
It came to be some awesome stuff. Like our bard used heat metal, which I think bards and druids are like the only two who can use that. Maybe rangers.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was wearing plate mail, so he couldn't get out of that.
Yeah,
he was just taking damage over time.
Mentioned heat metal, I was like, oh, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what's a heat metal in his glove? Oh.
Yeah, once he describes it, I was like,
yeah, bards get some pretty good like status ailment type stuff.
It depends on how you build bards too. So,
yeah, just again, a lot of it comes down to that, but they do have access to a lot of good stuff. The fight turned out pretty good. That was where I learned that Parth is kind of a coward because I was just kind of cowering near the carts.
You just learned.
Slowly wedging my way forward.
You just learned. I'm like, we kind of knew from the get-go, you know?
Well, because he's a fragile cleric. Like, I don't have an extremely high constitution. And even though he has armor, like, it's still kind of that point of him being a bit of it's a little bit of a coward, but he wants to help. Like, I'm not saying that, like, if I played a game with someone, he'd just go, and I'm running off this direction. I'm going to use Protection from Evil on myself and no one else. Yeah. So, it's things like that. Like, I probably should have thrown out some protection spells and what have you, but they weren't prepped, or at least I did not declare they were prepped. Mm-hmm. And I think that's little things I learned from this playthrough was our druid had a cheat sheet of her spells on the phone. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Yeah. Like, why didn't I think of that? Because I was looking at certain things like Bane. Does Bane lower one stat or does it lower all stats? I know it lowers stats. I just don't remember how.
I also realized, I was like, oh yeah, I have a little notepad app so I could just reorganize what I need to write. So I'm probably going to do that.
I think that'll be one of the things I need to do. And then the other part is before any game, I'm going to have a little note thing saying these are the spells I have prepped. So that when we go in and we do stuff, I can at least be there saying, like, yeah, I have Healing Word prepped, Bane, Cure Light Wounds, and level 3, so I think I get one more. Protection from Evil or something like that. Or no, Detect Evil, excuse me. Protection from Evil is a higher level. Mm-hmm. But Detect Evil. Detect Evil would have been helpful, I think. That would have been something, if I thought about prepping that ahead of time, I would have probably been like, hey, before we go to this gate, I'm going to Detect Evil. Yeah, you sense it there. There's some evil right ahead. I'm like, good. I'm going to stay inside my cart, and you guys solve this. So,
roll to drag that cleric with us.
Once we have a rogue, we can...
I have low strength, so that wouldn't be too hard.
Dang it, if we have a rogue, we just detect some traps.
Well, going into like a little... roadblock kind of thing wouldn't have had any traps. But I would like to do a dungeon dive at some point. Dungeon dive would be fun. Mm-hmm. Feels so unparth to do that, but I think he'd have fun. Like, let's go into this room. Why? I'm just curious. Hold on. Detect evil. No evil in this room. Let's go into this room. But there's evil in that room there. Yes, there is. Let's not go into that room. Let's not go into the place that clearly has something lurking there waiting to kill us. Let's go into this place and see if we can find some treasures or items that can help us out ahead of time. Or I could take a rest and prepare and alt my spell list. But yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty fun still.
Yeah, still enjoyed myself.
So maybe next time I'll stick with Parth. Maybe next time I'll play a Knight or a Barbarian, just because I don't usually play damage dealers all that often. It would just be nice to change things up. I want to get him powered up. I want to get him up to tier 2, but at the same time, I don't want to be like leaving anyone in the dust. Like, like I would like us all to go over as a team, and by extension, all the Scarlet Rhapsody and associated Scarlet Rhapsody family, kind of going up with 3 or 4 of us all joining in on a thing where all our characters know each other. We've all had adventures together, and then it's like, hey, we all know each other, and then you new people, hey, what's going on, and have some fun character interactions that way. But yeah, like I said, I really do recommend it. That's kind of how we wrapped up our. Well, it's not really. We did a little final exploration afterwards, and as you can tell from our discussion here, there's quite a bit to do. Some of the stuff you'll do will be time consuming. Obviously, playing a round of 5th edition D&D will eat up a couple hours. Just exploring will eat up a few hours, and if you take on any of the various demos that people have available, and there's a lot of them, especially throughout the weekend, and they'll change up throughout the weekend too, from what I noticed from the guide, you can find more than enough to do at a Strategicon related event. I'm looking forward to the next one, which I think is in June or July.
June or July?
I think so.
I have to double check.
I have to double check that, but I think it's June or July.
Well, next one is a Strategicon, I think? Or is it
They're all the Strategicon. They all have different subnames.
Yeah,
that's usually May or June.
Is it that early?
I remember a couple of times before that when they needed help, it was like, hey, we need help in May.
Game X is May.
I knew it.
22 to 25, Memorial Day weekend. As in Fanime.
Okay, well, I won't be able to hit that, unfortunately.
The one after that is Gateway 2020, which is Labor Day weekend, September 4 to 7.
That depends what's going on that weekend. We'll find out.
That really depends.
So yeah, I would like to hit all 3. I'm not going to be able to. I'll be at Fanime for that weekend, but overall, it's been a lot of fun. You guys have any final thoughts you guys want to go talk about?
This is one of those cons that you need to stay for more than just one day.
Yeah, I feel like I need to stay at least another day.
Minimum 3. Take advantage of that Memorial Day weekend. Just roll with it, 3 day, just go down there, play some board games, play some miniatures, and then nighttime falls around, do whatever the hell you want,
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing,
Yeah. I almost kind of miss that vibe.
Right?
Yeah. Vibe. It's just life happened. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is a location that has enough to do, and you'd be more willing to go say, hey, I want to hit that tournament. Hey, I'll take the time to learn this card game or whatever, because you could eat, the hour and say, well, whatever. I have a whole week. I have a whole, 2-3 days where it doesn't matter if I go and do this or that. I know, I think on Sunday or something, they were going to have some BattleTech demos, and I really would have liked to have tried the modern version of BattleTech just to see how it plays, to see if I can remove that intimidation factor of it and go and say, okay, yeah, I will invest into BattleTech, and let's go. Who wants to play Clans? Who wants to play Star League?
If it's the one that I saw in the general miniature section hallway, they're gonna ask you do you have a ruler?
Oh, the games come with those things usually, and the reason for that is because most bigger elaborate boards don't have a grid system or easily seen grids, and then your length on your ruler will also determine whether it is a long range shot, a mid range shot, or a close range shot, which then can determine accuracy and other bonuses. I've learned stuff. You were wondering about the ruler thing. That's how it is. Personally, I like more lower not lower tiers, the wrong way to say it, but lower scale, more of a D&D thing where there's just the grid there and you don't have to worry about that so much. Where it's like, oh, that spell has a range of 30 feet, so that's 6 blocks, and you go, okay, cool, 1, 2, 3, yeah, I have enough, cool. Lightning, and you take the guy out, or your arrow or whatever. Versus, the larger scale boards can look so elaborate and so beautiful that like I would love to make a full diorama style board and have giant robots or have various weird alien factions or what have you battling each other on it. But that requires having the space to put up the table. That requires all those other little things, which I don't have room for where I live, unfortunately. But someday, they're very much in the someday pile.
Yeah, but again, we have another shot at actually enjoying this, as it should be, September. But again, you're right, we'll see what happens that weekend. But if all gets cleared, you know what that means. Drunken Werewolf game with Jared.
Oh, yeah. Let's get a hotel room. I'll totally do this.
Yeah.
Jared is the drunkest military commander. All right, we're doing drunk battle tech. I get my robot. Wait, hold on. Let me get my ruler. Okay, there. Okay, now I'm going to use my lasers. Just from distance to you. Yeah, I can use my lasers. Okay, now I'm going to use my lasers. I'm going to grab my 18 dice.
And you still missed because you couldn't read the damn ruler right.
Yeah, you used you were using the long-range ruler, not the mid-range ruler. Yeah, and those are short-range lasers. Oh, your accuracy is -2 on all rolls. Oh. So,
no, it's worse. Like, dude, we settled this. We're looking at the inches. You were looking at the centimeters.
Oh man, what do I hit? That tree over there. Take that tree. It shows you for getting in the way of my lasers. So,
and my Gauss rifle wrecks you. Bye.
Yeah. No, my urban mech. No, Irby.
You got 5 of those. Quit crying.
Those are some great BattleTech jokes for people who played the games. But yes, shenanigans would be fun. Staying a night and doing 2 days or of the event would be great, especially doing some of the later night things. And I think a lot of the rooms stay open, so even if you're just running your own game, you might just get an audience of people going like, "Oh, dude, they're playing some Call of Cthulhu, or they're playing one of the hardcore dungeons in D&D. They're playing a Tomb of Horrors or a Dungeon Land, as I mentioned earlier." And just to see, is this going to be a party wipe, and people like watching just to see if that'll happen, or those like little last you win by just that one extra point you needed to get that little bit of damage to to take out the baddie and live another day. So yeah, I think we all highly recommend checking out any of the 3 Strategicon events. Mm-hmm. And if you see us there, please invite us into your game. We'd love to play with you. We're open, basically trying anything, and yeah. Our next event, I think, will be WonderCon. Don't quote me on that, but I know that's coming up.
Yes, it is. I got a green light on that.
Okay. So until next time, this is Jared for Stan and Deb saying we'll see you at the con.
All right, now roll for the exit.
Hold on. 3? Oh, crud. Just going to move that out of your way.